Spill your drink. You keep telling it. Hey, everybody. Yeah, anything goes. You can unmute yourself, type in, go ahead and fire away.
Go ahead, Kathy.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I got poison ivy.
Ugh.
Ew. And it I think it was airborne or just barely brushed off, and I'm very allergic.
Oh boy. Yeah. Unfortunately, there's no like essential oil that's really good for that. You know, there's an old school herb called fit root that's really good. You'll find it sometimes in some of the little poison oak, poison ivy like formulas you get from the health food store. But other than that, doing the calamine lotion and all that. But you are having an allergic reaction to, I mean, other than just the normal poison ivy, poison oak, are you having an allergic reaction kind of stuff to it, or?
Well, it got it started spreading.
Yeah.
And I did go in to see my doctor, and
Okay.
he gave me some prednisone.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, which I hate, but
Yeah.
I guess that's what I got to do.
Yeah. Yeah. Temporary.
Yeah.
I mean, it does like help fight that kind of quick. Yeah. So, yeah. Sorry, I don't really have a good answer for you on that.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's all
Sometimes we get it,
right.
sometimes we don't. You know.
Yeah, that's all good.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank
You
you.
bet. Take care.
Bye.
And then go ahead, Ralph, then Barbara.
Hey, Ralph.
Let's get you unmuted.
Now you ought to be able to hear me.
There you go.
Okay. Couple of questions.
Yes. Yes. Fire away.
First off, on the materialization breath, at one point
Mhm.
you had talked about an oil that was very good to use with the materialization breath in general. Do you remember which one that was?
We were just talking about something in general. It wasn't about anything specific.
It wasn't anything specific.
So the prosperity oil, the materialization oil, those are good. Cinnamon is good, and hyssop.
Okay.
Yeah, those were all big. Abramelin could also be a choice in there as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Overmelon.
Like when you start doing more specific things, like then there starts to be different choices. But just in general, those are pretty solid.
Yeah, like this class this weekend where you were using the materialization breath, but it had specific oils for
Right.
what we were doing.
Right.
Speaking of this weekend, on number 3, self-compassion, you had frankincense and myrrh.
Let me go back and look because I
Okay.
will not remember. Hold on.
Okay. Oh, duh. Read the more. Okay, I wasn't reading it. I answered my own question. Forget
Oh,
it.
you did? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm still glad to talk about it if you want.
Well, I was just looking at frankincense and myrrh. I was going to say, can't we use 3 wise men? But there it is. I just looked right over top of it.
Yeah, you can use that and the patchouli as well. Yeah,
Okay.
so.
All right. I have a question on the website. If I'm looking at an oil and I like say basil, and then I continue to roll down, it'll have 3 or 4 different oils that it says related oils. Now, what does this related mean? How does that work?
Do we know what he's talking about?
It doesn't mean anything right now. At some point, I'm sure we'll be putting up like actual related oils to those items.
Yeah.
That is actually the website choosing what it
Yeah.
thinks is related by
okay.
other people's purchases.
Yeah, like
Okay.
sometimes we have to edit out, you know, because the websites and the what do we call like WooCommerce and what's that called though? Basically, whoever, like when we host something, we have to go through and edit out a bunch of things and like make it a little bit more what we want, and sometimes
Mm-hmm.
we have to keep turning off some of the things they keep trying to do to our website.
Yeah, they're trying to be helpful.
Yeah,
Okay.
there's between that and people trying to break in, it's keeps us busy. So
Yes. Okay. All right. Great. Thank you.
you're so welcome.
And then go ahead, Barbara, then Robert.
Hey, Barbara.
Hey there. So I have another attempt at an ablation procedure coming up next Tuesday, and I met
Okay.
with at a pre-test meeting today. And when I mentioned that I took a bunch of supplements and also some essential oils, the nurse kind of threw her hands up in the air and didn't even want to deal with them and just said, stop taking all of it now, a week before. And that seemed a bit extreme to me.
The rule of thumb is usually 72 hours. And I say rule of thumb, that's not my rule of thumb, that's physicians usually say 72 hours.
That's what I thought from the last go around.
Yeah,
I know they're
yeah.
particularly concerned about anything that would affect bleeding time.
Exactly. Bleeding is the big one, but just to risk anything and just give them the body the way that it is and not having herbs or things influencing something, and this usually includes medications too, by the way. They usually have you go off everything 72 hours prior.
Okay, that's what I thought. And I just wanted, I guess, some reassurance to do what I had done before.
Sometimes like a nurse or a doctor, you're dealing maybe with some of their frustrations from previous patients, or they might have opinions that don't necessarily agree with some of the things you're doing, or
Or it's not in their database and it's too time
yeah,
consuming to enter it in the record.
Yeah, it happens. So Tuesday's the big day, a week from today.
Yes, because
Okay.
I didn't want to stop things too far ahead because they seem to be, if they're useful, why would I stop them before I need?
Yes. 72 hours is pretty solid. And then, afterwards, do a little galbanum, do a little black cumin just for recovery and all that. And you should be pretty solid.
Thank you very much.
You're so welcome. You keep me posted though, if something goes weird.
Yes. And if I wanted to work with the materialization breath around, the best possible outcome, like it's actually successful this time, is there an oil you would recommend that I work with?
For that, Melissa. Do you have some Melissa?
I do.
Yeah, use Melissa.
Okay, thank you.
You're so welcome.
And then go ahead, Robert.
Hey, Mr. Robert.
Hey, Greg, how are you today?
Doing good.
Good. Well, it's summertime and a lot of us want to go outside, but I want to start my question in relation to outside. I have ants that come into part of my house every night time and they disappear by morning.
Yeah,
I'd like to, they are, and I've never had that happen in this house before. But I'd like to encourage them to stay out. Is there an oil that I can use for that?
Peppermint might work, but you know what actually would work better? I don't know how well it would translate into your situation, like where they're coming in and everything. Chalk. Like if you take like a thing of chalk and you draw like lines places, they won't cross the chalk.
Yeah, I'm seeing them once they're in the house. And one place they're coming through a hole in the wall, one place they're coming from an outlet, they're coming in the corner of a window that's open.
Wow, they're coming in an outlet?
Yeah. And then on a really bad night, they go up and circle the ceiling. And then in the morning, they're all gone.
I think that's an ant rave. Like I'm pretty sure like there's some sort of ant party going on at your house.
And it's pretty consistent.
Yeah.
I'll try the peppermint. I don't have a problem.
I mean, I would try peppermint. You know, I've tried, you know, there's this oil of like, you know, chili peppers. Like I think I have one that's like a Thai chili. It's a really super hot chili. I mean, I've tried that. I've tried the issue is that you have to spray it often, you know, because as the oil wears off, they'll just cross over. And ants are pretty industrious when dealing with obstacles. You know, they'll build like a little bridge, or they'll like couple of them will take one for the team, and then everybody crawls over them. You know what I
Yes.
mean? Like with some of the stuff. And so, I mean, you want something that, you know, the reason why mint is, you know, the mentholy kind of feeling is something that potentially will make them kind of stay away. But boy, you have them in so many places that they're coming in the outlet. Usually they come in like the pipes and things like that. But
Yeah.
um,
The peppermint, I can easily accomplish and do tonight before their arrival time, and then see if they arrive.
yeah, and one of the things that like I'll do sometimes is, you know, like you put it in a spray bottle with alcohol, and as they're in on something, you know, as long as the area can be, you know, sprayed on, just spray the ants themselves, and it kind of breaks up that little pattern that they have.
Yes.
Doesn't mean they're not going to come back in a day or two, but it breaks it up like in that moment. So when I was in New Mexico, we had a season, like it lasted about 8 or 9 weeks, and I mean, just there was just no stopping the ants. And you know, I would spray them down, and they would stop for a day or two in a particular area, but they would get back to it in a little while. But you know,
Yeah, and I definitely tried that chalk idea, but I can't find them outside the house. So,
right,
you know, so
yeah.
okay. Then continuing on this theme, you know, it is
Mhm.
summer. If we're outside enjoying ourselves, are there oils to do something with outside so we have fewer mosquitoes and flies?
Oh, citronella is a big one. I mean, even like sometimes basil will work, sometimes peppermint will work. But citronella by far works the best, and citronella is super, super cheap. Do we even have it on the site, or do we?
Oh, Robert.
I'm looking. I'm looking. Yes, we do. 15 mil.
Yeah.
Okay. And what do you suggest we do with that?
A lot of times what I would do is kind of, again, depends on the situation. You can diffuse it in an area, but a lot of times what I do is, again, kind of the same thing. Put a whole bunch of it in a spray bottle, and then spray down the chair, spray down the table, even give yourself like a little, you know, splash down with the spray bottle. Works like a charm. Like mosquitoes and like horse flies and things like that. It's what I used to use to keep the, you know, in New Mexico, we had these like biting flies that would bother the alpacas. They'd get on their face and start biting on them and stuff. And I would spray down the alpacas, and I mean, it worked like a charm.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I did see someone posted recently what to do about spiders. We had my backyard, right? Again, this is our first or second week of summer. We actually are up in the 80s for the first time this year.
Oh.
So spiders all over the backyard, though.
Yeah, I don't know that there's a great essential oil treatment for that. Like, what kind of spiders?
Hard to tell. There's webs everywhere. And if I
Webs everywhere.
sweep the webs away, then they're back in a day or two.
You know, I would do the same thing probably with the peppermint. That would be my go-to thing for that one. You know, just make it real strong, and you just go around. You're still probably gonna have to spray daily, but
Okay.
yeah.
Our backyard in some ways looks like the Haunted Mansion.
Oh wow, that's crazy.
Yeah. Windows, chairs, lawn, all the lawn furniture, of course, all the plants too. No, I don't want to kill them. It's just like, okay,
No, you
guys,
just want to
stay,
scare them away and tell them to go over there and
yeah,
not
go to the other side of the
Yeah,
yard. I
go-
don't care if they're on the
those
bushes and
that
trees.
neighbor's yard is so much more conducive to spider-like activity that,
Spiders, flies, mosquitoes, and ants,
yeah,
you can move on.
all right.
Okay, thanks.
And then
Thank you.
You're so welcome.
Go ahead, Kathy, then Peggy.
Hey, Kathy.
Okay, on the ants,
Mhm.
right on the peppermint, but I do the alcohol and peppermint spray
Uh-huh.
around the corners to their trails. And I also will get long twigs of my mints and place them, but it's a constant battle. They
Yeah.
usually come in when there's a lot of water near the house and they're wanting to get away from it. I think I didn't ask them, but maybe. Yeah. On those mosquitoes, I use scented geranium plants,
Uh-huh.
but the neighbor who works for a pesticide company actually said, put charcoal in some, the cooking charcoal
Yeah.
into standing water. And it's been great since he moved in. I hope he didn't move out. I guess I could put charcoal
Oh,
in the water.
so the little charcoal cube things, you
Yeah,
just put it in some standing water, like in a pot of water or something, and
right. Like if you've got some running water. And what do you have, Robert, under your, you don't have to answer me, but under your house, is there
Huh?
standing water?
No, we're on a
Um,
slab.
Okay. So toss
Cool.
some in there and the mint, that does work. You don't have to poison your house
right.
using the peppermint and alcohol. So, but you have to keep doing it.
Like when we look up the citronella, how much is 15 mils?
$10.
$10?
Yes.
Let's do like a ounce for 15. Let's do like a summer special thing or something.
Okay.
Yeah, citronella works so good, and so we're gonna do like a little summer special on if anybody wants citronella. We'll do an ounce bottle, which is 30 mils for $15.
Do you do scented geranium?
I have several different kinds of geranium. I have just regular geranium. I have an Egyptian geranium, and then I have a rose geranium, and I think, a geranium bourbon.
Okay, never mind. I'm not sure which.
Yeah, like you're probably talking about just regular, because geranium has like a lot of different varieties.
Yeah.
It's probably just the regular geranium, to be honest with you.
Uh-huh. Okay. Thank you.
You're so welcome.
Go ahead, Peggy.
Hey, Miss Peggy.
Hello, hello. You
Hey.
know, over the years, every year when we would go up to the sequoias or when I was in Indiana, whenever I went someplace and there was mosquitoes, I said, if you eat fresh grapefruit, the white part of the grapefruit is quinine. You can't take quinine water. You have to have fresh grapefruit that has it naturally in it. And the mosquitoes would land on my arm and get up and fly away. And I never got bit. They could smell the quinine coming out of my skin. And pretty soon, every time I went someplace, people had fresh grapefruit because it really, I don't know about the flies, but the mosquitoes, they'll land on you and then fly away. They don't bite.
Yeah, I didn't know that. Yeah.
With the fleas and ants, sprinkle borax on the carpet and they take it to their nest. And yes, I'm sorry, Robert, it takes them out, but it gets them out of the house. and those have always worked. And then you vacuum after a day, sprinkle it down there, let them do what they do and take it back to their nest. And then you vacuum it up. But maybe the Buddhist not killing them, but if nothing else works, my logic is this is my place. You can't come in, you have to stay out. But the grapefruit, I put my life on the line for that. I can't tell you. It doesn't matter if it's California or other states, even other countries, actually. They can smell the quinine coming out of your skin. So fresh grapefruit, have that in the morning and they might not bite you at night.
There you go.
But it's fun to, and rose geranium, I didn't realize you had rose geranium. I might have to get me some rose geranium, and the citronella are a good deal. So yay, thank you guys.
You're so welcome.
I feel like we had somebody else with their hand raised, but let me just check. How many drops of peppermint in the spray bottle?
Oh boy, you're gonna have to go pretty heavy. I put like probably 50, 60, 70 drops in there. I mean, I'd go pretty hard. Yeah. I mean, I'm talking about a big bottle of alcohol, big bottle of spray. Okay. Well, let's do a process.
Go ahead, Cindy.
Hi,
Hey,
can you hear
Cindy.
me? Okay.
Yes.
I just want to make a comment on this about thyme linalool from the class this weekend.
Uh-huh.
That I put some on a bracelet that is made of pumice stones,
Uh-huh.
and I can't believe what I have accomplished since wearing it. Like the whole tendency to put off and not approach
Yeah,
things.
it's amazing, isn't it? I
Yes.
tell you, I love me some thyme linalool. Like I just, the different times have a little bit of a different personality, but man, there's just something about the thyme linalool that is just so fortifying. Yeah.
Might be a little psychological because you said it would help, but
Yeah. Yeah.
but I'll take what I can get.
Yeah, no joke. And were you smelling it from time to time, or you just
Oh
had
yeah,
it on?
absolutely.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yes, it became almost like I haven't smelled it for a while. So yeah, definitely.
No, very good.
And then go ahead, Robert.
Hey, Robert.
Back again. The last lady who was talking about the class this weekend, is there a class we have about self-confidence?
No, we didn't do one on self-confidence. We did like self-image, self-esteem, self-worth. Self-confidence.
And after taking all of the self classes so far, I definitely don't lack confidence, but for some people, that seems to more be the draw.
Yeah, like, because if you really think about it, like a little bit of in that self-acceptance class, can't remember what piece it was about self-doubt. Brace imperfections. Give me just a sec here. Self-comparison, positive. Probably the thing that gets the closest with what we have is page 7, the positive self-talk. Because it's really about like self-confidence. The opposite of that would be self-doubt. And self-doubt can be it could be just a series of bad experiences. It could be, I'm thinking this out as we're talking about it. It could be from other people. Self-confidence. We could give it a shot right now if you want. Let me just think this out. Give me like 30 seconds just to think this out a little bit. let's have you do, we'll work on self-confidence right now. Marjoram, basil, petitgrain, even black pepper, or any of the peppers. Let's see if everybody has something, one of those, and if not, we'll come up with some other choices. Think we're good? Okay, so you're going to just think of times where maybe you don't have the confidence, or you doubt yourself, or other people are telling you, oh, I don't know about this, I don't think you can do this, and your confidence caves kind of quickly, some version of that. You could even use the thyme linalool, like Cindy was liking the thyme linalool. The thyme linalool will work as well, actually. So reflect on a situation like that, or a tendency like that. And this time your awareness is on your crown. So start taking some long, slow, deep breaths. Your awareness is on your crown. You could let go of the visualization and the reflection. Just inhale with your awareness on the crown. We're still taking long, slow, deep breaths. And then just pause and be still. Just pause and be still. Just maintain your stillness. Again, your awareness is on your crown. You're taking nice, long, slow, deep breaths. And then just be still. And now your awareness is on your spine. Check in with your spine. You're inhaling, your awareness is on the spine. You're taking nice, long, slow, deep breath. Okay. And then just pause and be still. And then again, you're checking in with your spine. Nice, long, slow, deep breaths. And then just be still. Just be still. Back to your crown, the top of your head. You're taking nice, long, slow, deep breaths. And then just be still. Again, your awareness is on your spine. You're taking nice, long, slow, deep breaths. And then just be still. Now we're going to do the materialization breath. And just to revisit, you're going to hold your bottle to your chest, head down, inhale, hold your breath, up, exhale. And then down, inhale, up, exhale. So you're holding your breath as you're moving your head up and your head down. You inhale through your nose when it's down, exhale through your mouth when it's up. The inhalation and exhalation is one breathing cycle, right? So we're going to do 8 or 9 breathing cycles. So all together, chin down, your bottles to your chest, take a long, slow, deep breath. Head up, exhale. Down, inhale. 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 Up, exhale. Just pause and be still. Just be still. You're just being still for a moment. Again, bottle to your chest, chin down. 8 or 9 of the materialization breaths. And just be still. Just be still. Your awareness is on your back heart. You're taking long, slow, deep breaths. Awareness is on your back heart, the area between your shoulder blades. And then just be still. Just be still. Again, begin inhaling. Your awareness is on the back heart. Long, slow, deep breaths with your awareness on the back heart. And then just be still. Notice how you feel. Notice your body, your emotions, your mind, your thoughts. Now, if you do this on a regular basis, this should help increase or improve self-confidence, right? But this is what I would say about that. You know, even with the class that we did, the self-acceptance, there's nuances to it, you know, and we tried to cover that in some of the things we did over the weekend. But the thing that I would say about self-confidence is in a way, self-confidence, you know, we look at it from a psychological point of view, you know, Jungian psychology, whatever form of psychology, we have a certain sort of understanding. But if we look at it from a point of view of esoteric principles, it's a lack of light, but it's not a lack of divine light. It's a lack of earth light, if that makes sense. Like when you are bringing in divine light, first, your ability to bring in light actually depends on how much light you can draw in from the earth. And a lot of things that we do to draw in the light from the earth is focused more on the basic chakra, or things that are even of like can tap into something of a lower vibration and like kind of bring it in, and then we move it up through our energy our energy system, our energy processes. And a lot of the light that we bring in is from the mineral kingdom and from metals in the earth. And so that's why crystal healing, people don't necessarily put two and two together like that when it comes to crystal healing. But if somebody really knew what they were doing with crystal healing, it's drawing in one kind of light to bring in another kind of light, you could say. And with self-confidence, if you want to tap into that, you don't have to worry about working with crystals or anything like that. But I'll run you through an experiment. Okay, I don't know that I've ever taught this before, by the way, but we've done pieces of it, but it's about like kind of putting these things together. And so first off, we have the transmutation process that is the low back, which is the Mingmen, opposite your navel, then the back heart and the crown. So you're setting a pattern within the body with this particular pattern. But at first you're transmuting things in your physiology, but eventually you're kind of utilizing and harnessing earth prana, or light that comes from the earth. And if you really want to accelerate this aspect of healing issues that have to do with self-confidence and self-doubt and things like this is how you'll do it. Like, so at first, you're putting your awareness on the Mingmen, right? You're taking long, slow, deep breaths. So I would still use whatever oil you're using, but your awareness is just on the Mingmen. Now, here's the interesting thing with the Mingmen. It transmutes lower, grosser energies. It moves energy up from the Mingmen to the back heart to the crown. It moves things up. It basically it increases or elevates the vibration of the body and moves the energy upwards, right? So like when we're trying to physically heal a condition, part of how you do that is by raising the vibration of the body. Your Ming Men is associated with that, right? Now, the Ming Men is also associated with the law of cycles and with change. So a lot of times when we have difficulty healing, part of the issue is the body is having a hard time changing, right? Is having a hard time to change into this newer form that is going to be healed of a particular condition, you could say. So a lot of times, almost everybody has an issue with the Ming Men because we have issues with change, we have issues with cycles, we have issues with raising the vibration of the body. But on an even deeper level, we have issues with transmuting the energy of the earth into like a divine light of sorts. And so really what you're wanting to do is draw some energy up and then move it up to a higher degree. So you're drawing it up from the earth. So I'm just going to run you through like this little process. And well, let's see how this goes, right? It's kind of nice to explore this, not necessarily in a class, but just like in a study group like this, because we can go into the little nuances and anyway. Okay, so your awareness is on your low back area, your Ming Men. You're starting to take long, slow, deep breaths with your awareness on the Ming Men, right? Your awareness is on the Ming Men. Okay, let that go. So we're going to do something and we're going to practice, right? We're just going to practice it and then we'll keep refining it. We'll see how this goes. Okay. Okay. So your awareness is on your Ming Men, but at the same time, let's just start at your awareness is a foot below your bottoms of your feet. So it's on the Ming Men and about 12 inches below your feet. Okay, they're on the two spots at the same time. Okay, keep inhaling. Your awareness is on the Ming Men and a foot below your feet, right? Now, if you were to say between the Ming Men and your feet, okay, let's stop for inhaling for just a second. When you're looking at, okay, the center opposite your navel, the low back area, and then below your feet, your awareness is on both, but you could say the Ming Men, the low back area, is a little bit more dominant, right? So if you can keep like maybe 2/3 of your attention on the Ming Men and then 1/3 below your feet, that's ideal, right? But somehow just make the Ming Men, the low back area, a little bit more dominant. Like it has a little bit more of your attention is the best way to say it. Like if I'm looking at my two fists, I'm looking at them both, but I'm looking a little bit more at this one than this one. I can still see this one, but my eyes are a little bit more on this one, if that makes sense. You're doing the same thing. Okay, so your awareness is on the Ming Men, which is your low back, and about a foot below your feet. Okay, you're taking long, slow, deep breaths. Now, your awareness on the Ming Men is staying fixed there, but now the area below your feet, start moving it slowly upwards. Move it up about 4 to 6 inches, still below your feet, but now you're only about 6 inches below your feet. Keep inhaling. Now bring your awareness up to the bottom of your feet. And the focus is not the feet themselves. You're just moving your awareness kind of up and using that as like a guideline, right? It's coming up, it's moving up past the ankles. It's slowly moving up, moving up. It's about midway up that lower leg. Still moving up, still moving up. It's getting up to around the knees. It's going up into the thigh. It's about mid-thigh. It's getting up towards the hips, towards the pelvis. It's starting to hit that low back area. And now everything's merging into where the Ming Men's at. Everything's merging into where the low back is opposite the navel. And then just be still for a moment. Let go of the inhalation. Just be still. Okay, now your awareness is on your low back, the Ming Men, and now your back heart. So the Ming Men and the back heart, you're inhaling with your awareness on both spots. Now, a little bit more dominant is the area between your shoulder blades, which is the back heart. And the Ming Men has become a little bit more passive. So 2/3 of your awareness is on the back heart, 1/3 is on the Ming Men. Now, you have your awareness on the back heart, you have your awareness on the Ming Men. Start moving your awareness from the Ming Men, raise it up about 3 or 4 inches above your low back. Just start moving your attention upward. Just slowly, slowly moving it upward. It's now hitting your mid-back area. Just below your shoulder blades. Everything's merging into that area between the shoulder blades, your back heart. Hold your awareness on the back heart and take nice, long, slow, deep breaths. And then just pause and let go. Okay, so now your awareness is going to be on the back heart. Your awareness is going to be on the base of your skull, like that little indentation at the base of your skull, like where the skull meets kind of the beginning of the spine, like that little area in the back. That area in the back at the base of your skull is the primary. So 2/3 of your attention's there. 1/3 of your attention is on the back heart. Start taking long, slow, deep breaths. You're moving your awareness up from the back heart. It's moving up, up, up to the tops of your shoulders. It's slowly moving up on your neck. It's halfway up your neck. It's getting more towards the top. Now have it merge into that area at the base of your skull. And then just let go of the inhalation for a moment. Okay, your awareness is at the base of your skull and the top of your head. Still, the primary is the base of your skull. You're inhaling with your awareness on the base of your skull and the top of your head, the crown. Keep inhaling. You're still taking nice, long, slow, deep breaths. Your awareness is still on the base of the skull on the top of your head, but now start moving the energy down from the top of your head down into the brain. You're going deeper and deeper down into the brain. To the bottom of the brain and begin to merge it at the base of the skull. Your awareness is at the base of your skull. And then just pause, be still, and let go. Just let go of everything. Be still. Just be still for a moment. Okay, so now your awareness is on the top of your head, it's on your back heart, and the base of your skull all at the same time. All three spots: crown, back heart, base of the skull. You're taking long, slow, deep breaths with the oils. Oh, attention is still most on the base of the skull. Yeah, sorry. You're inhaling on all three. Let the back heart go, let the crown go. Keep your awareness on the base of your skull. And then just pause and let go. Right. Just notice how you feel. Notice your body, your emotions, your mind. Now, let's just talk about it for a minute. This is pretty abstract, what I just ran you through. Like, I had no intention of teaching this tonight, but Robert brings it out of me. There's different kinds of light, like I was saying. You have your inner light, you have the light of the mind. There's even a kind of light that goes along with the emotions. Different aspects of the soul, be it the incarnated soul, the higher soul, you all have a kind of light. And then there's a more divine light, like like an ocean of light that we all kind of swim in. That's a divine light. There's also a light that, like I said, comes from the earth. And there's a kind of light that you could associate with like Mother Nature, you could say, like how nature interacts with itself. How the plants interact with other plants and how they interact with animals, and how humans interact with the earth or with animals, just whatever it is. There's just all these like little mechanisms that are fueled by this kind of light. You could say your self-confidence on a very deep level is a direct reflection of your ability to tap into this light of the earth. When you're not able to deal with it, you could say in a way, you have a hard time dealing with conflict, you have a hard time overcoming obstacles, you have a hard time, bottom line. And when you see somebody who just kind of like flows with things and seems like they handle conflict well, and doesn't mean things don't happen, doesn't mean things don't get triggered, doesn't mean they don't have their little difficulties, but they're a little bit more dynamic in their activity. They're a little bit more fluid in the way that they handle things. They have the ability to tap into this flow of energy. And you could say they kind of get it a little bit, like they have an understanding, because this is the thing when we're dealing with bringing in divine light or the light of the soul, or tapping into this kind of light with the earth. In the light, it's energy with consciousness. It has information, it has guidance, it has a thing that helps you go in particular directions where your mind is not able to comprehend it. You have this kind of like guidance that's coming. And this is really one of the deeper reasons for clairvoyance. This is one of the deeper reasons for intuition. This is like, seeing through the eyes of the soul. You don't see it from your normal everyday like struggles, but you tap into it whether you're aware of it or not. A lot of times people who are really good at tapping into it, they couldn't tell you the mechanisms, right? But the mechanisms are your ability to like draw this energy up and then kind of transmute it, utilize it, and have it do something to the body, the emotions, but more importantly, the brain. And that last little piece where we were doing things with the base of the skull and the back heart and the crown, you're increasing your ability to connect the higher soul and the incarnated soul by doing a version of that process. And we're going to talk about this like more in greater depth when we do the vagus nerve class in August. The ability for the heart and crown to mix, the heart being associated with the incarnated soul, the crown being associated with the higher soul, is really tied to the spot at the base of your skull. It's tied to the vagus nerve, and these kind of channels or pathways, however open or unopen they are, directly corresponds to how well the energy of the heart and crown in mix, but also how well the emotions and mind mix, and how well we can process information from the environment and things like this into the mental body. And you could say, well, you could say, if you could really get this down, not only would you be a force to be reckoned with when it came to like doing things, people wouldn't see you coming. Like your ability would outshine what people perceive of you, you could say. People make judgments all the time, usually because of their perspective, but there's almost like a dynamic activity that people can't fathom because they don't have the experience with it, you could say. Anyway, I don't know, this is pretty abstract, but let's open it up. Maybe questions is a better way to handle this. We'll do questions and maybe share experiences. So let's maybe start with Robert, since he's the one that I think he wants this to be part of the Essential 2 class. I'm not sure, but
Nothing like putting me on the spot, Greg. So I'll tell you, and part of the experience, you gave the list of oils.
There you go. Could you start over? We couldn't hear.
Oh, sure. Thank you for putting me on the spot here. I wanted to share an experience because you gave the list of oils and I was writing them down because I wanted them in my notes. And then I ran over to go get them and I'm like, where are these oils? And I said, oh, marjoram, I know where it is. So I run to that side of the house, come back, put it on my desk because Amazon dropped off a package. I wanted to bring it in real quick so no one stole it. I get back to my desk, I pick up the marjoram and start breathing. And then I look down at the bottle, doubting that I grabbed the right oil. So it's like, but the funny part of it is that from the class this weekend, I had enough awareness to say, yeah, don't worry about it. Just move on, breathe. So I obviously needed this, didn't know it, and I welcome it. It was not a pattern that it made sense, but I never recognized these patterns before.
Mm-hmm.
And how you brought them together and moved the energy through the body and focused it. I guess my body wasn't aware of it. I don't know that I was consciously doing it.
I mean, if you think about like the stuff that we just did is like you said, we brought together like 2 or 3 things and kind of merged them together. And even as like the energy is moving up, we're practicing these things like all the time where like, you go through and you do the whole body thing where you go, okay, be aware of your feet, be aware of your ankles, be aware of your lower leg. Like that is good, but that is like almost like preparing something to come later, right? And because if you just jump to that spot and you say, okay, draw the energy up from your feet and start moving it up, you would most likely be your awareness would be on the body itself. And really what you're doing here is you're in the same areas, but you're shifting from being aware of the body parts or the form, and you're kind of moving the essence up. You're pulling in the earth energy and you're starting to move it just slowly upwards. And you almost have to kind of train the mind to like be able to go, okay, focus on the form, focus on the form, focus on the form, focus on the form. Now don't focus on the form. Like if you just put your mind going, okay, move the essence up, your body would go, okay, I don't know what you're talking about, so I'm going to focus on the form, right? So it's almost like you keep drilling on focus on the form, focus on the form, focus on the form. Now you know what the form is. Now don't focus on it. It still is doing something therapeutically, but ideally you want to be able to draw up more earth prana. You want to be able to draw up more light from the earth, because like attracts like. The more earth light you draw up, the more that divine light comes down. Like it matches, like whatever you bring up, like it matches it and brings it down, right? And so by going through and doing this, you're harnessing a type of intelligence that is inherent in the earth. And so you get some information from there, but then there's a corresponding like downpouring of energy, and there's these mixing of the two energies. And in that, it's like your crown and your basic chakra, who are really at odds with each other. One is form, one is essence. One is the entry point of divine energy, the other one is your connection to the earth. And it's almost like you make them dance together. It's like it's a
Yeah.
hard thing to say, but it's like you make them behave and get along with each other. Like if you guys behave and get along, you get a toy at the end of the week. Like, it's some version of that, like how you would do with little kids.
You show them another perspective
Yeah.
that they can both go to and be friends instead of being
Yeah.
at war with each other.
Yes, exactly.
And you've, in most of our classes, you talk about, smell the oil with awareness on the heart, let's say.
Mhm.
To me, that feels very static, even though it isn't.
Mhm.
It's a dynamic thing, but this this is movement of energy.
Yeah, it's you're tapping into like a process or a movement, a mixing of something. And you have to practice on the form for a while, but then at some point it becomes easy just to step away from the form and go, I'm going to embrace essence, where your mind really can't comprehend essence, but it can comprehend not the form. Like if that makes sense. Like if you said, don't think of an apple, you're going to go, okay, don't think of an apple, don't think of an apple, don't think of an apple, don't think of that nice, juicy, delicious apple. Like don't, you keep grinding on it. So for your mind, if you go, just focus on the essence, don't focus on the body, nobody can do that. Like
No.
nobody can do that. Like maybe the Dalai Lama, maybe some high Lama somewhere can do it. But if you go, okay, focus on the form, focus on the form, focus, focus, focus. For one, that is generating an essence just unto itself. But at some point you go, okay, now you know what the form is. Now just step away from the form. And in doing so, you're tapping into an essence that your mind would never be able to tap into.
I really like this.
It's very intriguing, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah.
Obviously this is one application, and I know there's more. I know I'm not ready for more because I'm still swirling in this energy.
Mhm.
But I look forward to it when they come.
Yeah. Yeah, like and there's different ways of doing it. Like here we're doing it with oils. I like using plants because I think it is a really quick way to physicalize it and integrate it and have your brain and your nervous system and your endocrine system shift very quickly. You can do it without oils, like with meditation and mantra and awareness, and I do teach that in the Astara setting somewhat, because I think it's also good to put it forth in ways that are not, based on using plants like this. But each one has its little nuances unto itself. But I love me some plants. Like I love me some
Yes.
oils. It's just it's so easy, and I can almost be kind of lazy about it to do it, and it still works really, really super well. But it's like, even this is also what I would say about it is our mind kind of doesn't get it. So like in a way, you're teaching the mind in a way that it's doing it by having an experience rather than trying to get it to intellectually get something. And so even the idea, like when I was first taught this, I had no idea what the person was, what was being taught to me. And I was like, I kind of get it, but I don't. But over a period of time, the light that you start bringing in is the thing that teaches you. Like it's not the person. Like the person just kind of puts something in motion. The light is really what does the work. And you just got to be able to process the light. And so here you're manually making yourself step by step process the light. You're manually dragging it in, and then you're manually saying, okay, now process this. And then you can just step back, and no matter what happens, there's a motion that starts to happen.
In a way, well, you mentioned something this weekend, and I don't remember if it was class or a Star Sunday session, but you talked about how the light has messages within it.
Yeah.
And I heard that, and it's been in my mind since class or wherever, and I'm like, how do I become more aware of those messages? How do I let those messages be received and processed so that I can act upon the ones that I need to act upon?
Right. So like another term that you could call for like the processing of that light is intuition. Like intuition, like true intuition, like is you processing information that's coming in from light. It's coming in from something beyond the senses, and then the senses process like that information. Like we have all this sensory information always coming in, and your mind kind of goes, okay, I'm going to process this and I'm going to form an opinion. But it's processing things that it knows. It's processing things that it's observed. It's had some sort of stimuli associated with that. The thing with intuition, why it's hard sometimes, is the light that's coming in is significantly more subtle than physical matter or the stimuli that comes from the senses, which is processing matter, right? And so as it comes in, it's almost like the brain isn't tuned to like handle something that's soft. But then as you start to tune the brain, all of a sudden it starts to experience the light coming in just like it would the senses. And then the senses, all the stimuli from the senses also has information, just like the light has information. That's why the plants, like you're smelling something, but you're not just smelling something, you're smelling a plant that has a specific property to it, right? If you touch something rough versus something who's really soft, you feel some cashmere like sweater or something, and that tells your brain something different than if you touched like a prickly piece of really coarse sandpaper. You're still touching something, but different information is coming in, right? And then you go to taste, like, you taste something that maybe is a couple of days old in the refrigerator, maybe the milk that's gone bad, maybe a day or two, doesn't taste that good. And then you taste something that maybe, whatever it is, it tells you something different. Like you're still using taste, but different information is coming in and you're adjusting your behavior. The same thing happens with light and the information in the light. It's just, it's more subtle than that cashmere sweater or that coarse piece of sandpaper or that 2-day-old milk versus the yogurt that's mixed with a little maple syrup and is delicious, like each thing tells you something different. Apparently I've got maple syrup yogurt on my brain.
So I'm not trying to put words in your mouth, but the way I just understood what you said was that in essence, intuition is another sense.
Yeah.
And
It's
much like
another
some of our
sense.
senses, we have to develop them.
It's another sense, and it's not like you're trying to develop something new. You're just trying to develop your ability to process something more subtle. It's not like it's a different process. It's actually the same process. It's just more subtle. It's more refined than that cashmere sweater. It's more refined than,
It's
something
both.
that tastes
It's
good or a pleasing sound.
it's softer than the cashmere, and it's also, in some sense, rougher than the sandpaper, but in a subtle form.
kind of, yeah. Like
There's
it's,
more to it.
yeah, it gives you more information. Yeah, I would agree with that. Yes. Like there is a lot more information in the light than there is in touching that sweater.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like the sweater gives you a little bit of information. The light, if you sit and really are able to process it, it gives you so much information. I think what I was saying over the weekend is, and we're teaching, we have a series that we're doing for clairvoyance and Astara. And it's based on these modules and everything. And so different parts of the world, we're releasing them at different phases just because of who we're dealing them with and all that. That's complicated, but anyway, so I was talking with this group in India, and they kept saying, well, why did you choose this? And why did you choose that? And why did you choose, to do it like this way? And I was like, I didn't choose anything. The light is what gave the instruction. Like the light came in, the instruction is in the light. It's not that I thought, because so much of our logical mind wants to do something, wants to make something happen, wants to go, I'm going to go and bring the light down, or I'm going to go do this, when really you just get it to start coming down and you go, tell me what to do, tell me what I got to do, tell me what I got to make happen, and I'll make it happen. And it just keeps like increasing. And so even the idea would be manifest in a person, like you could say their conscience is a byproduct of how they process light. Like it gives you a little bit of instruction, but it's a whisper. Like it's really easy to go shh and quiet it down. But if you quiet down and listen to your conscience, it is literally a reflection of how much or how well you've processed light.
Okay, I'll have to
That's it.
sit with that a bit.
Yeah. I mean, I had no intention. I mean, we started off talking about bug sprays, and here we are 30 minutes later going, the light.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much for those teachings.
It's a curious thing, and it's not something you have to get right now. I mean, we're constantly always moving towards this, but it's kind of nice sometimes to step away from what we're doing and go, this is like a little bit of where we're headed and what we're kind of doing. And it's like, I mean, you said it, like when we were going through and doing the process, it's like 2 or 3 things got like kind of mixed together, right? Like, so a lot of these things that we're practicing, that's what's starting to happen, is now these pieces are being mixed together to do like another phase, another step. And it's kind of exciting to me. Honestly, I didn't ever think I was going to be able to teach some of this, because without the pandemic, I was only teaching somewhere like 2, 3, maybe 4 times a year, and that was it. And so now I get to teach all the time, and it's been a bit of a game changer. I mean, we're able to go much deeper with a bigger group of people, where before I always thought it'd be maybe like a small handful of people, and that was it.
I can tell you, I certainly would not have traveled around the country to take classes every weekend.
No, nobody would.
And, to be able to sit at home and relax and take classes and live my life at the same time is pretty darn amazing.
Yeah. Who doesn't love taking a class in their pajamas?
Thank you, Greg.
You're so welcome. Anybody else want to share, ask questions?
Yeah, go ahead, Anne, and then Carolyn.
Hey, Ed.
For me, this is like a dance. I
Yeah,
dance
it's
to the
very much like
vocal.
a dance.
I
It's very
dance
much like a dance.
with the plants. I dance picking blackberries. I can dance and my body doesn't know what it's going to do next. It just happens.
Right.
It flows.
Oh, very nice.
Thank you.
You're so welcome. Thanks for sharing.
And go ahead, Carolyn.
Hey, Carolyn.
This is totally a different topic, Greg. Is that okay?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, anything goes.
Because I got in late. I missed that whole thing. I'm sorry, but I can get it
Oh,
on
no, that's fine.
record.
That's totally fine.
But I'm going to visit family in the UK, Wales, and Netherlands, and I leave on Sunday. And I
Oh, wow.
I went to the acupuncturist today to get tuned up too.
very
And she
good.
said, yeah, you have a low-grade sinus infection.
Okay.
So I need to get rid of that.
Okay, so this is what I would say about that. Like rosemary is always good for that. Like rosemary is good for increasing circulation to the sinuses, the mucous membranes. It does have a bit of an antibiotic effect. I would also take a few drops of it internally just to reduce inflammation in the mucous membranes.
Okay.
The other thing I would do you have any form of thyme?
No, I do not. I've been doing basil. 'Cause I thought-
Basil can be helpful. Let me just think this out a little bit. Victor, what about bay laurel? You have bay laurel?
No, sir, I don't.
Helichrysum?
I'm not positive. I've been taking your modules on I have brain fatigue too. No, but
Don't we all?
I'm not positive about helichrysum. I've taken the lymphatic technique module and the ones on the lymphatic system and the
Okay.
foundation of medical healing.
Let's see.
I don't think I have helichrysum, Greg. I'm looking.
Okay, but you have rosemary. Let's stick with rosemary. Let's have you
Okay.
use rosemary.
Rosemary verbena or just
Yeah,
plain rosemary?
either one. If you
Okay.
have verbenin, use
Yep.
verbenin, but if you don't, use the other one.
Okay,
And do a lot of inhalations, a couple of drops in water, and take that at least once a day, if not twice a day.
okay,
And then one of the other things that you can do, just because flying with sinus issues can be like quite miserable, is
Yep.
do you happen to have a Nula by chance, like in any of the kids? If you do, use it. If you don't, no big deal. Like,
you know who, I'll check with Andrea. I'm a friend of Andrea's.
okay, gotcha,
then-
gotcha.
So I'll check with Andrea.
But so the thing to do also is go to the health food store and get some golden seal root
Okay,
and take like 2 or 3 capsules 2 to 3 times a day. It will, for one, stimulate lymphatic function, two, reduce the potentials for infections, so it fights infection, has a pretty good like antibiotic kind of effect. But the other thing that it does really well is it reduces inflammation, and it reduces the mucus in the sinus cavity. I mean, it reduces mucus in the sinuses and the lungs and the bronchioles and also in the gut.
Oh,
And
yay.
so, yeah, it's I mean, we always have it around at the house. There is
Okay.
no essential oil for that, unfortunately, but we use either a tincture, which is it's pretty bitter. So I would probably get capsules.
Yeah, I think I've taken golden seal.
Yeah, golden
before.
seal's amazing. Yeah.
So if I have the tincture, I can take the tincture?
Yeah, oh yeah. Sure,
Okay.
sure. Yeah. And in fact, in one of the classes, we gave the tincture, we gave like 5 ml tincture of.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't remember which one it was in, but it was in one of them.
Okay. So do the rosemary verbena, 2 drops, and then the golden seal, 2 to 3 capsules a day.
And keep using the basil as well. Like,
Okay.
like basil was smart. Like I would keep using the basil as well.
Okay. All right, great.
And
Thank you
have a
so
super
much.
good trip.
Thank you. I'm going to see my granddaughter get her master's degree in osteopathy.
Oh, tremendous.
Yes. Yeah, in Wales. So,
Tremendous.
yeah. And
Wow,
then
good for
her
you.
mother, my daughter lives in the Netherlands, has for about 20 years. So I'm
Wow.
going to go visit her.
Wow, wow, wow.
Yeah. Exciting.
Yeah. Safe travels.
Yes. Thank you.
You're so welcome.
And go ahead, Barbara.
Hey, Miss Barbara.
Hey there. I'm feeling called to play with this, and I'm wondering what other oils you might recommend we use with
Oh,
this.
for the process we just did?
Yes.
It's very interesting. The oils that are really strongly antispasmodic, for some reason, work really well for that process. So like the marjoram, the pepper, the basil, petitgrain, helichrysum. Now, like the thing, like if you wanted to make it more potent, because like if you think about like when people say, oh, how grounded a person is. Part of that is the energy is moving down, 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 and then your ability to go down throughout your feet and tap into the earth a little bit lower. One of the best oils to do that with is either Ruscus or vetiver. I mean, Ruscus and vetiver definitely bring things down. The other one that does that is saffron. Saffron will do it as well if you don't have the others. And so I would inhale that first and then go through and do the process. And the ones that I told you that you could, the marjoram, the basil, the even forms of yarrow would work. The yarrow is very antispasmodic. Angelica would work. Anything very antispasmodic.
Thanks.
Yeah. Kind of interesting though, isn't it?
Very much so. The practice of holding your awareness in degrees feels like a good practice. Two-thirds here and 1/3 there.
Oh yeah. We're going to be practicing that more. Part of what we're going to be doing over the next month or two is also dealing with like opposition, but within the body. Dealing with, because if you think of what is the opposite of opposition is oneness. And so if you start like looking at the form and dealing with the opposition, just like how we are saying, okay, look at the form, look at the form, look at the form, look at the form. Now don't look at the form, right? So it's the same idea with opposition, 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 opposition. Now don't do opposition. And so there's these techniques where you go through and you do these things within the body, within the form, which we've been practicing. We've been moving towards this for a while. Like, if you think about like in the meditations, be aware of your body. Where do you feel something in your body? Where do you feel it in your spine? Where do you feel it, wherever you're putting your attention awareness, it's helping heal that particular area. It's helping to bring light, but you're also teaching your brain and your mind an ability that can bring something even stronger in, if that makes sense, like even more potent. But it's like you almost have to have the experience for a while.
Thank you.
Yeah. The way I was taught, I had to sit with, how we've been prepping and everything. I had to sit with that for 10 years before they would give me the next piece. Like that's how long that they would drill it into you. But the thing is we're using plants, and the plants accelerate the process so that it makes it like you can do it in like a few months. Like you could do it in a few months, 6 months, a year, and then it's like, okay, I'm ready for more. And so, yeah.
And go ahead, Kathy.
Hey, Kathy.
Okay, I think we might be on the same page on this.
Hmm?
Tell me if I'm off in la la land. But early on in my journey, I did a lot with crystals. Did a lot with plants, and I moved through them in the sense that I sat with them. They became my teachers.
Mhm.
And I came to believe that they were teaching me vibrations, and not so much to be dependent upon their representation in form,
Mhm.
but to recognize their energy pattern.
Okay.
And I know at times I want to know the rules, and then I get
Sure.
kind of jerked out of that. And it's okay,
Don't we
pay
all?
pay attention to the energy.
Yeah.
And so whatever we've done this time, and the last time we've met, I have experienced a shift in greater comfort in speaking in groups.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good.
So, and it's less on the particular oil, but the relationship with the oils and the patterns. So,
If you think about what you just said, like we were talking about how like doing these processes would improve like self-confidence, and then you were saying I feel more comfortable speaking like in a group, or speaking online in front of a bunch of people. Like that is literally self-confidence in motion.
mhm.
Yeah.
And what I can't, I'm attaching it more to the energy of the
Sure.
experience.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, no, it's, even though we talk about physical things, we're really doing a form of energy work.
Yeah.
I would agree with that. And if you think about like going deeper on what you were saying about the plants and the stones and the crystals, like the stones and metal have a lot of light in them. Like they have, like when we draw light up from the earth, a lot of it's coming from the mineral kingdom and the metal kingdom, whatever you want to call it. And so there's a lot of light there. But when you look at plants, there's light there. But plants, because there's a lot more motion, there's a lot more activity, they are impacting the aspects of the will. Because if you look at what's happening when a plant's growing, like it's always moving towards the light, it's always moving towards the sun, it's always moving to the thing that it needs. Like it opens, it closes, it turns itself to face a particular direction. Like if you put some blockage in front of a tree, it'll grow around it and kind of keep moving to the light. That is an act of will in the plant kingdom. And so part of what we're doing when we're working with plants and we're inhaling it through the nose is it's helping to shift our thought processes and our behavior, but the plant is helping to align with the will of the soul or the spiritual will. Like it's always kind of moving up the type of will that's being used, because there's 4 types. There's one with the body that's in the basic chakra, that's about survival of the body. And then in the emotions, it has to do with committing something, and with the solar plexus, are you committing to this? Are you committing to that? You're committing to good, you're committing to not good, whatever it is. And so it's that aspect of the will has to do with like what you want, right? And then there's the will of the ajna, which is more strategic thinking, and it's more about consequences, and it's more about like doing the right thing, or just establishing the consequences of action. And then eventually is the crown, which is the spiritual will. So at first it's about serving something bigger than yourself, serving other people, serving your family, serving your children, serving, even at work, in the workplace, serving in that particular place. And in doing so, you become more attuned to serving the aspect of will of serving the soul rather than the lower nature. Like it's like it's a bunch of practicing. And so if you look at the plants, they're not it's not like they're in place trying to make you do something you don't want to do. It's constantly just refining the will. Like it's just how, like, if you put that blockage in front of the tree, it's going to grow around it because it's going to keep going to the light. That aspect of the plants keeps moving you towards the light of the soul. And so whatever the blockage is, it just helps you to move around it and keep moving towards that light that would be representative of the sun. And so, I like your thing where you kind of play with tapping into the different vibrations of like stones, and you didn't mention metal, but metals and plants and things like that. And it's a very good thing to be aware of, the different vibrations or the different energies of things, the different patterns and information or memories that things have. And we don't always consciously know what they are. We don't always consciously know what we're processing, but unconsciously or in the intuitive mind, we kind of get what we're working towards.
I will say this, of all the little journeys I've taken,
Mhm.
the plants are more relational.
Yeah. The plants have will, the stones do not have will, like, because they're not moving, they're just growing in the earth. So that's why there's so much light, but they don't have the will aspect the way that plants do. And so, because don't get me wrong, I love me some stones. We were at a crystal mine just earlier today.
Yeah.
So I love me some stones, but at the same time, that dynamic activity of the plants is very curious. It's very interesting.
Very relational. I mean,
Yeah.
family.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Good.
And then I just want to make sure we got all of the things sorted. This is a little bit a while ago as well. The citronella, the bottle is a 32 ouncer suggestion for amount of oils. And
I mean, it depends on how strong you want, but honestly, a 32 ouncer, I would dump the whole 15 mils in there. I mean, you can make it less, but here, like the stronger, the better. And yeah.
And there were lots of thank yous on that practice, and
I mean, like when I know that people are interested in things, I'll do more of that kind of stuff. I'm not always sure that it's an interesting, I spend too much time in my head sometimes. And so I'm not always sure what's interesting and what's not. Things that are interesting to me sometimes are not very interesting to other people. I laugh because, you know, so many times somebody will ask me a question, like in person or something. Usually not somebody in these kinds of circles, and I'll answer, and then I'll go, too much information, huh? And they'll go, yeah. And I'm like, okay, well.
I got more, do more, and you have the coolest in your head. Okay, so kind of on that note, we've had a few questions, just in general, we've had a handful of questions come in about the human design.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna try to do a little thing here to answer everybody's question all at once.
Okay.
And so I hope you guys can hear me. I know I've been at a little bit of a distance from the mic, so hopefully you guys can hear me. I'm gonna do a quick thing here to kind of show people what's going on with the human design. So we have a whole new human design page for you guys, and what we've done is created a journey experience to give you a little taste of what is human design and why human design with essential oils and what that looks like. Okay, I'm gonna let you guys also know this because this is the starting point of what we're gonna do for the whole Plant Prana website. We're gonna start doing different journeys and experiences for pain, for respiratory, for classes, and all sorts of things. So this is kind of like a beginning step on that. So this first part is people's like who want to start learning about what is human design and their stuff. And the internet here is pretty slow, so I don't know how fast I'll be able to go through this with you, but it's a pretty easy little click through, read what this is, what is human design, why human design. It's like supposed to be an easy, bite-sized, chewable experience for you guys with the human design. Now, when you get to this part, you fill out your information to get your actual human design chart. Oh, probably don't need to show my friend's information there. So we'll skip that part. Um, and so it takes you through this whole journey. And right now, where we're at is we are telling you about the human design type and the human design strategy, because this is the place to start. Now, you can go through the whole book if you want to, but even the book starts with the type and then goes to the strategy. And so that's where we're starting everybody off with here on this journey. And there is a point which I just about skipped, but I won't here. So when you get to strategies, the person can click on what their strategy is. So they can click on that and it'll go and explain what that is for the person. Same thing with the type. So if people have been asking, how do I use this? What is this? I have people wanting to know. And so this is what this journey looks like. Okay, so after you're done with the first part of the journey, we've made it so you can go right into what Greg and Robin did, which was these practice master classes. So then you have your oils handy, and then you can go through these video sessions and really have a one-on-one practical experience and practice with the human design and oils. And we take you through every single one that has been going on so far. We've edited some clips as well. So if you or if any of your clients are interested in the human design, this is what we've created for you guys. And so it's pretty, I mean, I think it's pretty easy. I know I'm running you through this super fast. There's no need not to. And then I will show you one thing here at the end. Here's the, little Q&A questions, shorts, but we also have options to help find their human design essential oils. So they're having a hard time or you're having a hard time finding your human design essential oils, we have someone to help you with that. And then one of Robin's students has offered to do like a human design free reading. And it's just a quick reading, but to give you a taste if human design is anything you might want to go into. So Human design is kind of separate, but we did put this up on our site here to make it a little bit more of a chewable experience for everyone. So I hope that answers these people's questions. I'm gonna probably just cut this out and send that to people. So, and go ahead, Peggy.
Thank you. When the book came out, I don't have Kindle, so can I purchase the hard copy book?
Yeah, I could put a link in for you. Yeah, there's a physical book on Amazon.
Oh, okay. Thank you, because I don't have Kindle and I was kind of, oh no, I can't read it. So
Yeah.
thank you very much. I'll check it out.
And I think that probably answered those questions.
Okay.
So, you still have a few minutes?
Yeah, still have a few minutes if somebody wants to ask or share or something like that.
It's me again.
Mhm.
In reference to the stones not having a will, but
Mhm.
they can still communicate with us when we align ourselves to maybe ask them a question and get an answer. It's been my experience. And so when you said they don't have a will, but somehow or another they can communicate, how do you feel about that?
What are you doing? What are you trying to do?
Well, I've had some very positive experiences communicating with rocks and stones and even big rocks and getting mental feedback. And so
Yeah,
I
that's processing the light. Like that's the information's in the light itself.
so there's no will. It's just something that the life
No.
they've accrued in their lifetime or their experience.
Right.
Okay, thank you.
That's why, like, if you think about it, like for the ones that have gone through like training in both like crystal healing and with plants, or if you've done stuff with the indigenous people, when you work with stones, like here, I'm getting ready to use this in the prayer thing. You would go through and you would consecrate it, right? You would consecrate it, but then you would say, Crystal, do this, do that, do this, do that, because they don't have a will. So you have to give it instruction. But if you do that with a plant, you do this, you do that. They're like a cat. They're like, no, that's not going to happen. So you ask a plant, like,
Yeah.
like an indigenous practice. You're like, will you help me, heal this? Will you teach me something? Will you do whatever? Where the stone, you're processing the light, and if you're programming it or consecrating it, you give it instruction because it doesn't have the will to do it. It's not having to, it's just growing in the earth. It's not moving to the light the way a plant is, right? So very, very different kind of activity in each of them.
Thank you.
Yeah. Boy, we got super out there in esoteric.
Mm-hmm.
I like that we started with bug spray and ended up with all of that. Yeah.
Question, were the sinus infection capsules Greg suggested golden seal root?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah, work really good for sinus infections. That and the rosemary and like a little anula or thyme, inhaling thyme, it will knock a lot of that out. Well, let's post the link we're going to be doing the prayer blessing here a little bit, a couple minutes with Astara. And we're going to be doing a little bit of healing. So if you want to get a little bit of a healing, come over and join us. We're posting the link and we'll start in just a couple of minutes. In fact, I'm trying to find my door, Jay. So I'm going to keep looking.